Cameras up. What if Carmy's only real rule is not about food at all, but about control, and the night he chooses it over people is the night the kitchen burns itself down? Tonight, I will prove it with a concrete receipt. In Season 2, Episode 10, Carmy locks into perfection, gets locked in the walk-in, and the whole line overheats without its center. This is commentary and critique for education and entertainment. Major spoilers ahead. Before we plate the thesis, here are the receipts I will pull from Season 1, Episode 7, the single-take service spiral when online orders flood the printer and Carmy's command style detonates. Season 1, Episode 8, the meeting room confession and the decision to rebuild. Season 2, Episode 1, the whiteboard of non-negotiables as Carmy and Sydney design a new system. Season 2, Episode 6, the holiday flashback that forges his rule under pressure. Season 2, Episode 7, Richie's stage that reframes service as care. Season 2, Episode 10, opening night, the walk-in trap, and the price of perfection. Season 3, Episode 1 through Episode 3, the escalation of standards into a doctrine. Look at the frame in Season 1, Episode 7. No breath, just steam. Tickets chattering out like a lie detector that will not stop. Carmy's hands are fast, but his eyes are faster. He tries to solve the printer with volume and velocity. The knives are dull, the stations are dirty, the fix he reaches for is force. His rule feels simple: control everything. If the line obeys, the food will sing. But watch who breaks first. Marcus, pushed past precision. Sydney, pinned between better and now. Richie, cornered into chaos. If control is the rule, the moment control wobbles, the people do too. Curiosity loop. Why does the very same instinct that propels Carmy to greatness when the pan is hot also guarantee the kitchen will scorch when he tightens the grip? Hold that question. The answer is plated at opening night, but it started long before the doors ever opened. Season 2, Episode 1. The kitchen is stripped to studs and rebuilt in bullet points. Carmy and Sydney stand with markers, writing systems into existence. Prep lists, training blocks, suppliers, standards. It feels like love. It is also a contract. Every line item is a boundary against the monster in Season 1, Episode 7. The non-negotiables are not just about mise en place. They are about taming a life. Control promises safety because it promises no surprise. Pattern interrupt. If control equals safety, then a perfectly controlled kitchen should feel calm. But in this show, the tighter the rule gets, the louder the air hums. Why? Micro vignette. Late night. Season 2, Episode 1. Sydney eats standing up, pencil behind her ear, counting time in bites. She glances at Carmy, who is sketching time itself on the wall. Two leaders trying to make a culture they can stand in. The rule in his bones whispers, do not leave anything to chance. The rule in hers whispers, leave room for people. Season 1, Episode 8. Carmy sits in a chair and lets the truth cut. Not a kitchen knife, a memory. He lays out the price of being made in other rooms, under other men, where the game was to give more than you have and smile anyway. The confession is not culinary, it is parental. He has inherited a rule that worked in rooms with no softness, perfection or pain. He chooses perfection so he will not have to feel the other thing. Early engagement cue. In the comments, name one episode and one line theory. When did you first see Carmy choose control over connection? I will feature a few in the next breakdown. Season 2, Episode 6, the holiday that bakes too hot. The camera never stops moving because no one in that house could. Every time Carmy tries to help, the room punishes him for not already being perfect. The rule is born here naked and obvious. If you do not control the chaos, you become its target. Later, in a different kitchen, he chooses to be the chaos's owner rather than its victim. The show makes it visual. In that chaos house, he darts from oven to person. In his restaurant, he darts from station to soul. He calls out mise en place and memory like they are the same thing. If that is true, then watch the Hinge episode for the opposing code. Season 2, Episode 7, Richie polishes forks at a temple of hospitality and learns a different rule. It is not control. It is care. It is not volume. It is attention. The food is a delivery mechanism for dignity. Richie learns that presence can beat pressure. The cut that matters next is not from Carmy. It is from a man who kneels to tie a guest's string of problems together and calls it service. Receipt run starts to boil. Back to season 1, episode 7. The printer screams, Carmy screams back. He tells people to be other people. He tries to control identity, to control outcomes. Sydney says no with her knife by accident. Marcus says no by refusing to abandon the work. Richie says no by exploding. The kitchen is a map of resistance, and control only knows one counter: more control. Season 2, episode 10. New walls, old ghosts. The restaurant has a name, and everyone wears it like a medal and a weight. Carmy wrote non-negotiables into the bones of the place. Then he breaks the one non-negotiable his gut cannot allow. He lets a human relationship into his rulebook. The walk-in fridge becomes a confession booth because destiny traps him with his own choice. You can hear the hinge turn when he talks through the door. No quotes needed, the content is enough. He tries to reconcile love with the rule of control and cannot. Outside, Sydney runs the pass with patience. Richie runs the floor with care. The kitchen burns and does not burn because the people have learned another rule. Pattern interrupt. If a leader is trapped and a team still executes, then the leader's only rule might not be necessary. Or worse, it might be harmful. Ethics line. We are not glamorizing abuse in kitchens. We are analyzing systems, choices, and pressure so people can make better rooms with better rules. Now, the counter theory. Maybe Carmy's only rule is not control at all. Maybe it is excellence. You can point to season 2, episode 1, how he invests in training, suppliers, and technique. You can point to season 3's early run, where standards climb so high, they scrape the lights. Maybe he is not choosing control over people. Maybe he is choosing excellence for them. Tested against the receipts. In season 1, episode 7, when excellence would have meant slowing down to save product and pride, he accelerates. In season 2, episode 10, when excellence would have meant shutting down to reset, he pushes forward and then locks himself away. In season 3, when excellence would mean coaching over cutting, the doctrine gets colder. The pattern says the rule is not excellence, it is control disguised as excellence. The disguise is good because the food is good. The cost is hidden until service gets loud. Micro vignette. Richie in a borrowed suit, early light on stainless steel, learning to say welcome without saying it. He returns changed, not because he controlled anything, but because he learned to read people like tickets. He brings that back like a warm pan and sets it down next to Carmy's cold rule. A final loop to pull tight. If control is the rule, then you would expect Carmy to be calm when he is controlling. He never is. He is only calm when he is making. Watch season 1, episode 8, as he admits the making saved him, not the power. Watch season 2, episode 1, as the whiteboard becomes therapy. Watch season 2, episode 10, as the walk-in steals his hands and he loses his center. The kitchen burns when his only rule steals him from the line. The stakes of a restaurant are not abstract. When you burn a night, you burn cash, credibility, and a crew's belief that this place can be a future. Let us map exactly how a single rule ignites those losses using the receipts. Season 1, episode 7 establishes the feedback loop. Control spikes, errors spike, control spikes again. The show hides the thesis in props, dull knives, overflowing tickets, a pot that is never where it should be. Each object is a symptom of system failure. Each shout at a person is an attempt to solve a system problem with pressure. Now, trace the antidote through season 2, episode 7. Forks polished until they are mirrors, but not for show. The mirror is so you see yourself treating a guest like a person. The floor captain speaks softly, and reality changes. It is the inverse of Carmy's rule. It is control turned inside out. The standard remains high, but it is enforced with choreography, not volume. It is no accident that Richie's revelation comes without Carmy in the room. The series splits the code on purpose, so we can measure 2 rule books against the same stress later. Curiosity loop. So why does Carmy double down on control after he sees what care can do? because the show has to test whether his rule is identity or tool. You can put a tool down. You cannot put your identity down without grieving for it. Opening night makes him choose. Season 2, episode 1, again, but slower. Watch how Carmy writes out institutional memory, labels, bins, a clock for every task. He is trying to purge the randomness that lived in his head and in his family. The whiteboard is a spell. The longer the words get, the safer he feels. The safer he feels, the less he trusts anything he did not write. That includes love, that includes improvisation, that includes the crew's developing instincts. Pattern interrupt. If improvisation is risky, then why are the most transcendent moments in this kitchen improvisations? Tina rescuing a sauce under pressure in season 1. Sydney saving a course by reading a guest on opening night. Marcus flipping from technique to intuition when he finally plates his dessert as a gift, not a test. The show argues that control cannot birth those moments. Only trust can. Micro vignette. Season 1, episode 8. Early morning light on flour, dust in the air. Marcus folds dough like a prayer. He is not following a rule, he is listening. Later, Carmy will demand that dough become data. The bread gets better and worse at the same time. Here is the hard psychology. Control protects Carmy from grief. When he is calling, he does not have to feel the absence that made him. In season 2, episode 10, the walk-in is not just a cooling box. It is a time capsule. He speaks to a past promise made in harsher rooms. He tries to turn love into a variable he can manage. Love does not accept slot times. He stops being a chef in that moment. He becomes a manager of his own fear. The kitchen feels it as heat because leadership is a vent. Close it and pressure rises. Test the counter theory again against season 3's early stretch. The standards are cinematic. The notes are precise. The menu is a gauntlet. The staff stands taller and then starts to shake. When a standard elevates the team, you can measure it in pride. When a standard hollows the team, you can measure it in silence. The show gives us both. On nights when the room breathes, you hear knives, sing, and soft, yes, chef without fear, on the edges. On nights when the rule is law, you hear cutlery clatter like thunder, and yes, chef like a seatbelt click before a crash. Ethics line again, because this matters. Food films have glamorized tyrants for decades. The Bear is not doing that. It is showing how trauma writes a rule and how a team suffers until someone edits the sentence. Now, the strategy map that could have prevented the burn, backed by on-screen receipts. 1. Convert Carmy's rule from control to clarity before opening night. In season 2, episode 1, he defines outcomes but not boundaries. A boundary would read like this. If the leader is down, the pass defaults to Sydney without commentary until close. We see the proto version happen by accident in season 2, episode 10, when she steps up. If they had spoken it, the panic would cut in half. 2. Split excellence into lanes. Richie's lane is care, Sydney's lane is craft, Carmy's lane is concept. Watch season 2, episode 7 and season 2, episode 10 back to back. The lanes are visible. They simply are not agreed upon. In kitchens and teams, ambiguity burns hotter than incompetence. 3. Codify recovery exactly the way they codified mise en place. Season 1, episode 7 shows a printer that will not stop. No one says the 3 words every great line knows, 90-second pause. Systems can be reset, palettes can be reset, so can hearts. If it was written on Carmy's whiteboard, the way every reduction time was written, opening night would have bled less. Curiosity loop. But if they adopt all 3, do they still make food that feels like a life? The fear is that control is the only way to get brilliance fast. The receipts say otherwise. When Richie calibrates care in season 2, episode 7, brilliance arrives on time. When Sydney centers craft on opening night, plates land like small apologies for every past mistake. When Carmy later allows concept to breathe without strangling service, the dining room hum shifts from adrenaline to attention. Pattern interrupt. If control is gorgeous on camera, why does care feel better in your chest? Because care is contagious. Control is only transferable to the degree people fear you. Fear does not scale. Care does. Micro vignette. Tina in the walk-in, alone. breathing into her hands. She smiles, barely. The line calls her name. She answers with a joke that makes the room lighter by 1 ounce. No recipe card could have scripted it. The service survives because that ounce made space. We are almost to the verdict, but a final test of fairness. Carmy does not choose control because he is cruel. He chooses it because it worked in rooms where the people above him did not. It was the only tool he was handed that did not fail him. The show honors that by giving him scenes where control cooks miracles. The tragedy is not that he is wrong, it is that he is incomplete. Sydney's rule, Richie's rule, Tina's rule, Marcus's rule complete him. On the night he locks into his only rule, he locks himself out of that completion. Verdict time, plated hot. Carmy's only rule is control disguised as excellence. When he chooses it over connection, the kitchen burns. When he lets connection carry excellence, the kitchen sings. The receipts agree. Season 1, Episode 7, proves control can seize a night and set it on fire. Season 1, Episode 8, proves confession can rebuild a culture. Season 2, Episode 1, proves structure can heal, but only if structure leaves room for people. Season 2, Episode 7 proves care is a system, not a mood. Season 2, Episode 10 proves that locking into control locks you away from the very thing that makes you worth following. Season 3's early steps prove that doctrine without dialogue hardens into a cage. Let me echo the hook with one precise moment. Opening night, Season 2, Episode 10. Listen to the way the room changes when Sydney says fewer words more quietly. She does not lower the standard, she lowers the static. Richie reads guests like a second screen and makes micro adjustments at the door before the kitchen has to. Those 2 moves are not anti-Carmy. They are Carmy completed. His concept brought guests in. Their care and craft keep guests from being burned by his fire. Late engagement cue. If this breakdown made you rethink a scene, type "I saw the receipts" if you will rewatch that service with new eyes. Here is the most generous reading I can give Carmy. He is trying to protect people from pain the only way he knows how. He believes that if he perfects everything, no one he loves will have to feel the thing he feels when a plate dies in the window or when a mother throws rage like crockery. The kindness inside the rule is real. The outcome is not. The bear is kind enough to show him other options and cruel enough to let him miss them when it matters most. That is not villainy, that is tragedy. What do you do with that if you are building a kitchen or any team? You ask one question before service and after. Is our rule protecting people or is it protecting us from feeling? If it is the second, change the rule. Write the recovery into the prep. Make care visible on a board, not just excellence. Put a name next to the pass for when the leader is down. Praise, a save louder than a standard. The show gives us every receipt we need to draft a better doctrine. Micro vignette, last one. End of night, chairs tipped, light on steel. Carmy stands at the pass alone, palm on the wood. He is not cooking, he is listening. You can almost hear it. Not fans, not tickets. The room asking him to pick a rule that lets everyone breathe. The series has told us plainly what happens when he does and when he does not. We did not invent any of it. It is all on screen. Final pattern interrupt. If you think a kitchen must choose between art and kindness, this show argues you have misread both. The plates that move people are the ones carrying both. So, the verdict. Carmy's only rule burns when it is about control and saves when it is about clarity. Choose clarity, build care, keep the craft sharp. The best food on this series shows up when those 3 share the pass. Subscribe to Scene Autopsy, where we solve television mysteries with receipts.